You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Wednesday the 16th of April 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. My sleeping is absolutely terrible. I hardly slept last night. I've been in a bit of a mental daze all day today, to be honest. This is one of the few times where I wish I'd recorded an emergency podcast to just chuck something out because I'm not really in the mood to do this. So what I did today, I was toying with waiting to watch the new series of Doctor Who until it had all been broadcast and then binge watch it, but then I know I'll get spoilers. So I decided today, mainly because I thought I needed something to talk about on the podcast, to watch last Saturday's episode of Doctor Who. So the first thing I will say is it's a much stronger opening episode than last year's absolutely dreadful Space Babies. You know, it was interesting, it had twists, it set up the little story arc for the year quite nicely. I like the new companion Belinda. I like the way they tied her into the appearance by the same actor last year in the Stephen Moffat episode, the one where they were where the Doctor was standing on a landmine. I thought all that was quite good. I really liked the new information we have about Mrs. Flood, the woman played by Anita Dobson. So she lived next door to Ruby, the Doctor's companion last year, lived in the house next door. And we discovered at the beginning of this episode that she lives next door to the new companion Belinda. So that's interesting. It doesn't tell us who she is, but it tells us she's on a very specific agenda to do with the Doctor. So that's all quite good. I do think it looked overly I don't kind of feel like we need the level of special effects the show's getting now. I almost yearn for the simpler story. And basically it was quite a simple story, but you just had those big city shots of the alien planet. I like the overall conceit of it. I like the idea of the robot revolution. I liked... The thing I didn't like was that little robot, the one that was going polish, because it just reminded me of Gadget from the Waters of Mars in 2009. And I liked the Waters of Mars a lot, apart from that bloody robot. So, yeah, it's hard to... It did feel like a much more competent opener than last year's. But the reason I want to talk about it is I've just got this funny feeling that this is the last year of Doctor Who for a while. Now, I could be wrong. Russell T Davies has always said he was thinking about doing 4 years on the show, which would suggest he's got a couple more left. And also there's been an absolute ton of speculation in the media that Ncuti Gatwa's left. He's already filmed his regeneration, which is really interesting because last year he appeared on Graham Norton and said they were starting filming his third season in the summer of this year. Which was cut from the broadcast of the show because nothing's been formally confirmed, because it's in partnership with Disney Plus. Nothing will be decided until apparently after this season is broadcast. And there's been lots of speculation in the press about the fact that this is the last year and that Ncuti Gatwa's left and the BBC aren't going to do any more. The BBC have all hotly denied this, but I don't know. I feel uneasy because I've just got this feeling that something's different this time. So I did enjoy today's episode. I thought the last season had some good ideas in it, but it wasn't that strong a season. It was one of the weakest actual individual seasons of Doctor Who ever, actually, not just since it came back, but ever. Now, that's not down to the lead actor, although it is a bit of a trope that the Doctor cries in every episode. He did tonight. But yeah, it just feels like there's a lot of substance. The fact that we don't know about the new series, the fact that Russell T Davies has said it needs to be on every year. One of the reasons why they're doing less episodes is because it takes longer to produce, and he wants a series every year. Well, it's only been back for 2 years, and they're going to have to get their skates on if they want to put a series on next year, because a lot of these were filmed well in advance, and for there to be a series in this time next year, they're really going to have to get their skates on to get it into production. So at the very least, I don't think there's going to be a series this time next year. But as I say, my gut feeling is that it's not coming back after this. I hope I'm... Actually, do I? No, if I'm honest, I don't hope I'm wrong. I like it. I think it needs a break. I think it's been on too long, and I think the public have fallen out of love with it, just like they had when it ran for 26 years the first time. I feel that what it actually needs is a few years off, not as many as last time. So last time it finished in 1989, and apart from this little TV movie, didn't come back until 2005. Well, I really hope it comes back sooner than 16 years. But do you know what? If they turned around and said, this is the last series for a while, but we'll bring it back in a few years, I think I'd be happy with that, because I think the demand for it, if it was off air for 5 years, and especially if they repeated some of it in the meantime, I think the demand would absolutely be there in a few years' time. So don't get me wrong, I don't want this to be the last series, but I'm not gonna get upset if it is. And it could just be nonsense. As I say, there's all the speculation that Ncuti Gatwa's left. Will we actually have a regeneration this year? Are they looking at casting a new Doctor? There's so much up in the air. And it's just fascinating that he did say on Graham Norton that he was starting the new series soon. So maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just being gloomy and pessimistic because I haven't had enough sleep. But anyway, let's just if this is the last 8 episodes, let's just enjoy them. I certainly enjoyed that one. Interestingly, they keep talking about the date they're trying to return to is the 24th of May. That is the date episode 7 of the show is due to be broadcast, not episode 8, which is the final one. But then they normally do the finales as a 2-parter, so it makes sense that they're tying it into the exact date. Okay, that's me done. Enjoyed the episode. Trailer for next week's looked interesting. Again, it looks like it's had quite a lot of money spent on it, but we shall see. So, thank you for listening. I'm off to Singapore tomorrow, so I'm going to have to record a podcast in the morning before I go. Well, actually, we don't leave till the evening, but I'll have to record a podcast like as I'm ironing or something. I'm not going to lie to you. If it wasn't for the fact I was determined to get to episode 300 for the anniversary, I would probably have a few days off. But I really want... It's pathetic, isn't it? I want the anniversary episode to be episode 301. So, but that's in a few days' time. Anyway, thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.